On November 8th, flyers were posted on American University's campus with content linked to David Horowitz's Freedom Center's campaign, #StopTheJihad on Campus, with no identifiable campus sponsor. Public safety was notified and investigated the incident.
As far as I know, in terms of the flyers that were put on campus that had Islamophobic content on them, I don't know who put them up, but they were placed all over campus and they were subsequently taken down. Well, we want to make sure that everyone feels safe and is safe on campus, so whether it's against Muslims, other minorities on campus, we always promote contacting the Department of Public Safety if anyone feels unsafe, through the Reeve Guardian app, by calling us. One of our captains actually spoke with students of the Muslim Student Association to see if they needed anything in particular, how they were feeling afterwards, and to also see how they felt in terms of safety.
But is often talked about, your social media does become an echo chamber of your own beliefs. So since I have more liberal views, it's obviously reflected in my social media that a lot of my friends are posting the similar liberal. I have no doubt that the Islamophobia is very present on this campus, as is many other things.
Response.
Do you personally feel like they did enough, or?
It's easy for me to say, no, they didn't do enough, but putting myself in their shoes, what more can they do?
Yeah.
I mean, they already stepped up security, and until they find out who's responsible for it, what more can they do? People want answers, but they want them now, and it's not that easy to give answers.
Yeah. Do you see any other instances on campus where there's violence towards Islam or Muslim students?
I haven't seen any outright violence. I've seen physical violence, but I definitely noticed that a bunch of individuals who are Muslim and follow the beliefs of Islam tend to they're hurt by this incident, but I don't feel like they themselves think that they should go out and protest against this, because I feel they just feel threatened and they feel afraid.
I feel like there's definitely more that could be done always. AU is not really that proactive when things happen on campus. They're kind of more reactive, where they'll send out an email after something has happened. So I feel like my experience definitely is different from someone who is also being a white female who's a Christian. I definitely have to go through a lot less. I'm not judged on face value if I'm not wearing a hijab or a burqa. So I feel like someone who might have to wear one of those or chooses to wear one of those may have a different experience than I do.
There's a lot of stigma around certain groups of people. And I think the issue is that while we try to be open-minded about things, we're not, like I said, educated enough or willing to be open-minded enough or research enough to understand that these generalizations don't necessarily apply to the entire group of people.
At American, everyone is known as that liberal school where everyone's very accepting, but obviously you're going to have those people that just, not necessarily that they're ignorant, but they just don't know. And so they're scared to speak out and ask questions that might have them perceived as ignorant. So I feel like to get to those people and to defeat any of the stereotypes or that all Muslims look Middle Eastern, so people aren't surprised when they see me, just to be open about how we're communicating and so that people are able to ask questions in kind of a safe space.
I've been in once the professor or some of the students find out that I'm Arab or Muslim, I'm sort of turned into like the token Muslim student. So I was in an Arab studies class, and every time something came up about like what it's actually like living in the Middle East or what it's actually like being Muslim, then it would always be like, well, Hayat, like, what do you think? Or what's your opinion? Or like, what are your experiences? So it's always been like me representing like all these billions of people that are also Muslim, which is sort of weird because everyone's experience is different, obviously.
Stereotype of the specific Muslim, a lot of people will be very surprised. So today in class, we've been talking about the Paris attacks and everything that's been going on. And once I expressed how I was a Muslim and my feelings about it, a lot of my peers and everyone decided to start asking me questions. And I don't personally feel like that's an issue until people kind of put me again in the same bubble of like, oh, okay, you're Muslim, you're just like all of the rest of them.
Even from the first few weeks of being at American, one of the RAs asked me how I could be both brown and Muslim at the same time. And I looked at her like, what do you mean? How I can be brown? Like, first off, what do you mean by being brown? She said, well, where are you from? And I said, well, my parents are from Bangladesh. She's like, well, then how can you be from Bangladesh and be Muslim? And I had to explain to her that a race and a religion are two different things, that I can be both Muslim and both be Bengali, and it was just I'm in college, right? Like, this is not elementary school, right? Where I'm like explaining to kids what a race is, or like what a religion is, like where a country is, and this is my RA, so the person who's supposed to help you transition into college life, questioning your identity from like in a lounge in front of everyone else you're living with, and you have to defend yourself. Like, that was what how AU was first introduced to me.
No, I had felt slightly uncomfortable before, but mostly when something would happen in the world, and people would start being like, oh, another terrorist attack, and I'd be like, I'd feel a little uncomfortable like expressing my views, just because Muslims are a huge, like a small minority here, and so it would be uncomfortable to either like express my views, be it in classrooms or like if I were to make a post about it on Facebook, but yeah, so I had felt a little uncomfortable before, but the posters kind of like pushed it at the edge, but I think also made me more comfortable speaking out against stuff, because I have been more vocal about Islamophobic behavior on campus.
Hate crime incidents against Muslim students are becoming more prevalent all over the United States. In November 2015, Virginia Tech Police Department received a report concerning graffiti stating, "I will be here 11/11/2015 to kill all Muslims." Anti-Muslim Student Association and Islamic flyers have been showing up on universities all over the country. In North Carolina, Chapel Hill, in 2015, 3 Muslim students were murdered after a parking dispute. Not only do Muslim students feel unsafe and threatened, Muslims all over the U.S. feel threatened because of their religion and culture. Many individuals have taken to social media to voice their hate. This hostile environment within social media around the world makes many Muslims stay quiet. As we have spoken to Muslim students on campus, many of them feel that in order to create a better environment, we need an open dialogue, and this will help to alleviate these acts of hate.
Don't be afraid to ask. Just if you know a Muslim student or an Arab student or whatever, don't be afraid to ask them about their experience, because asking, even if you think you're going to sound ignorant, is better than just assuming what they're going through.